What up? Welcome to Homegrown Hustle, where local brilliance takes the center stage. I'm your host, Matt Eickman. Together, we're about to embark on an inspiring journey. Our community thrives on the wisdom of insightful leaders that are right here in our backyard. And we're bringing their expertise to your ears. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or simply seeking inspiration, this podcast is your guide. Join us every week in celebrating innovation, guidance, and the power to inspire greatness. Let's explore the stories that shape our local business landscape, and together, let's ignite the spark of excellence. What's up, everybody? I'm here with Jill Morrison, the owner of Be Memorable Marketing. Thank you for coming out here, Jill. Really appreciate your time. So Jill's been working in marketing businesses, and she's been doing some public speaking, and she's got a really interesting story. So before we dive into all the things you're expert at, you want to introduce yourself and tell everybody a little bit about your journey?
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Jill Morrison. My company that I founded about 4 years ago is called Be Memorable Marketing. I started in the real estate world, sold insurance for 3 years, marketed a title company for 3 years, marketed a lender for 3 years. During my time with Title and Mortgage, I sat down and met with over 350 real estate agents, loan officers, and small business owners to help each company develop a marketing plan unique for them. And then after the course of about those 6 years in title and mortgage, I was sick of being a gift with purchase, wanted to start getting paid for what I was doing, launched Be Memorable. And then during that time, I've been able to implement a lot of those strategies. And now it's really just like culminated into courses and classes. I'd love to be able to just teach people how to do it on their own, because I think that most business owners spend way too much money on marketing, which is an interesting business model for a marketing company.
Throw it at marketing.
Absolutely. They're like, well, they always say if you spend more money to make money. I'm like, well, it's a good idea in theory, but we got to know where that money is going. And so that's really been a lot of my focus now, is just helping business owners develop better strategies so that they can spend less money on marketing.
I love that. That sounds great to us. Driving down customer acquisition costs is one of the things we focus on a lot in our industry.
Absolutely.
And if you're not looking at that, you probably should. So one of the things I love about what you're doing, before we get into all the cool stuff. So let's talk about the name, Be Memorable.
Yeah.
We do pest control. You're talking about bees. Like, there's obviously some crossover. I just couldn't help myself. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I've always been fascinated with the bumblebee, because for the longest time, scientists couldn't figure out how the bee could fly, because aerodynamically, it doesn't make sense. Their wings don't support their mass. They shouldn't be able to fly. And for the longest time, they're just doing the impossible, which I love. And then the other part is then they looked into it further and found out that the bumblebee just figured out a different way to flap their wings, unlike anything else, and it allows them to fly. And so I love the message behind that of, something could be impossible, but there just needs to be like a different way to do it. And so sometimes just figuring out your own way to do things allows you to do what was otherwise viewed as impossible.
I love that.
So that was the root of the bee.
So tell us a little bit about kind of the progress of your business through working with customizing strategies for businesses. And then let's talk a little bit about the courses that you have, because I know that's a big part of what you're doing as well. So you start off, you're helping people bring in more customers for less money. That's great.
Yeah.
How do we get into the public speaking side of things?
That's a great question. So when I first started, I quit my job with $1,300 to my name, which does not even cover my mortgage. And I had none of the backed up savings, none of the anything. And so it was kind of just like a true on, leap of faith. And I do best in this situation when I'm backed into a corner, because then you just got to figure out a way. And so as a result, I was taking everything. I'm making postcards, I'm doing client appreciation parties, I'm doing social media, I'm doing anything that will pay me in the marketing realm, just to basically make enough to pay my bills. And then over the course of that time, then I was wanting to do more and more coursework. I had originally written my first class, Marketing to Millennials, in 2017. So about 4 years prior to launching my business. And it was really just because millennials was the buzzword of the year. And everybody was like, what's going on with millennials? why are they ruining malls?
What's
why are they
wrong with
ruining
them?
Applebee's? What's wrong with them? Why do they hate everything that we've established? Why don't they work? Why are they slackers? Why are they buying avocado toast instead of houses? Like all of these things that like nobody could understand what was going on. And I was like, there's got to be a reason why. Like there has to be some reasoning behind it. And that's when I really fell into this research on like the adolescent brain, on different influences within like effects that contribute to our generations. And so I had figured out how millennials worked and then expanded that into all generations, which is my Becoming a Generation Guru class. So I took like the research that I had done on millennials, expanded that out to go from silent generation to Gen Z. And then over the course of my time, so I wrote most of my courses at the end of 22. So that's when Swipe Left to Cold Calling is all about lead generation options. The Way of the Backward Mullet is my client appreciation class. So a standard mullet is business in the front, party in the back. Yeah. And then
you lead with the party.
Yeah. You got to throw one heck of a party in the front while maintaining the business in the back.
That. Yeah, you got to back it up.
You got to there's got to be reasons. It's got to be part of your business model. You can't just throw a party for the sake of it. We got to put business into it. And then Geek Out, Don't Freak Out is all about social media, geeking out on the stuff you love instead of freaking out about the algorithm. You Don't Know Anyone Now What is all about like building out your sphere of influence in a space where maybe you're new to an industry, you're new to an area, and you just need to cement yourself and grow. And then what am I missing?
I don't know. You rattled off a bunch of them already, Jill.
Yeah, those are like kind of the nuts and bolts. And those are all really from a lot of the experience I had in helping clients market. Like I pull in a lot of those stories. I spend a lot of time working on client appreciation parties. And so whenever I have courses that talk about that, I'm getting to pull on my experience of doing one client appreciation party for $122 all in. Like there's a lot of opportunities to do a lot for not a lot of money. You just have to be a little bit more creative.
Yeah, think.
Yeah.
I mean, throwing money at it can solve problems, especially as a business grows, that budget grows.
Yep.
You kind of just allocate it and try to not think about it sometimes because that's the investment in the future, right? The future of whatever that company is. So when you're like, are these courses talking about like budget and budget management?
So a little bit. Yeah.
So how do you think about that when it comes to marketing a small business?
Absolutely. So and one of the things that I mention repeatedly in my classes is I am exceedingly cheap when it comes to marketing, because I don't believe that we need to be spending a bunch of money on social media when at the end of the day, if you are just you on social media, like that's what the consumer wants.
Yeah. They put the business hat and face and whatever on, and now it gets all awkward sometimes.
I've known people that had their assistant writing happy birthday on other people's walls. Like, what is the point of that?
Yeah.
Like why
are we doing it?
Why are you even there? Like you don't know what's going on in the lives of the people around you. And that's the entire point of social media. So like if you can just be on there and be you and be excited about what you're doing, then you can create raving fans that want to share in your wins, that will refer you when they get the opportunity, instead of just being like somebody they can't even connect to, or somebody worse yet, where they like don't even want to answer your call or comment on anything because they're terrified that you're going to like hit them up for business.
Yeah. Where you're just trying to sell people all the time. So there's kind of a balance there for a lot of business owners, but small business particularly, because you got to wear a lot of hats.
Yes.
And oftentimes the business becomes like the focus of every interaction that people have. So when we're talking about these generations, are you seeing, because as you're talking about it, it sounds like almost a disc profile or a personality profile for these different eras of people. Are you seeing different thought processes when it comes to marketing the businesses from the people that you're working with? And like, could you kind of call some of those out?
Yeah. So as far as marketing to different generations and things as if they're their own personality.
Well, I guess my question was more around a business owner in, say, millennial versus a business owner. What's the one that's older than us?
Gen X or boomers.
So let's talk about a Gen Xer. So how does somebody who's running a business that falls into the Gen X category think about marketing versus a millennial thinking about marketing? Is there difference there?
Yeah, there is. Millennials most commonly are, so kind of the progression through silent generation is more about like work as a privilege, being there, company man, start to finish, retire with the company I started with.
The pension people.
Absolutely. Then the government stepped in, created the 401k, completely messed that up. And now boomers then come in, and they are the ones that had the most amount of competition, right? Baby booms. There's a lot of them. So they were the ones that you were at the office sun up to sundown. Gen X, as we're getting into that generation, then it just like, we kind of get progressively less attached to our job as you get like further through. So like Gen X was the original slackers. Like they were the last generation to play outside until the streetlights came on. Yeah. And so for them, it's more about like finding a balance. And most of them also had parents who were boomers. So for a lot of them, they were like, my parents were at their job, sun up to sundown. They never got to go to anything. They never got to be a part of anything. They never got to have a life. There's got to be more to life than just working. And so for them, it was kind of introducing that elusive work-life balance. And so when it comes to like their marketing or their things, it's more about providing more convenience to themselves and to their clients. So finding a convenient way to do more. And then when you get into millennials, it was more about working to live, not living to work. And so wanting to find.
So it's like, completely flipped.
Yeah.
Over the course of that, 3 or 4?
Yeah. Over like those 3 or 4 generations. Absolutely. Because it became, once we stopped having this like motivation with a pension, like for a long time, if you started at a company when you were 19, you wanted to retire there because the longer you worked, the better you built up that pension, the bigger it got, the more reward you would have in retirement. Then in the 60s and 70s, they introduced the Revenue Act, which included the 401k. And as a result now, like if I don't like this job, I'll just roll my retirement to the next one.
Yeah.
It's not
pay
stuck
the fees.
there.
Like it's really an afterthought.
It doesn't have to control you anymore. And if you can get a job where you have more freedom and more money, then why would you stay at the last one? I mean, we saw people during COVID switching jobs 3-4 times in 6 months and accruing a 20% wage increase. Like
just
that's insane.
Because of the switching. Yeah.
Just because of the switching, as opposed to like a 3% cost of living adjustment. Like, I mean, we can say what you will, but you kind of can't knock the hustle that bad.
Yeah. I mean, like 20% wage increase just for being open to that change, like kind of have to take it.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about marketing to those generations.
Yeah.
So for all the business owners that are listening, thinking about marketing or the marketing, the chief marketing officer.
Yeah.
Like what type of information would you like to come across so that they can better speak to these different generations?
For sure. So I would say with the silent generation, making sure that we are focusing on the quality, the durability, this investment, right? Like their money matters. They're on a fixed income. They grew up in the aftermath of the silent generation or of the Great Depression. So there's a lot of opportunity there for them to want to see the value in what they're investing in. Boomers, we talked about how like they showed up at the start of the day, stayed till the end of the day. They were the ones that were at the office the longest. So when we're marketing to them, we want to show our work. We want to show our value. We want to show that we are putting in the work for them. So sometimes when I'm talking to real estate agents, that's a matter of being more proactive with your efforts to show that you are working. I like to use the analogy of like old school math before they changed it, when like we would do long division and like you would have to show like a full page worth of math to be able to get credit for your problem. Like that's what it needs to look like with baby boomers. Like we're going to show our work. We're going to show what we're doing so that we show up for them so that they can see the value, especially I would say as like a later Gen X, millennial, Gen Z, they naturally view your want for work smarter, not harder. They view that as laziness. And so if you can show up for them and put in the work and show them the work that you're already doing, you're just doing it in a different way, by showing that they'll respect it more. Then we move into Gen X. It's all about convenience. When they were coming into really being contributors to our economy, that was the rise of even more fast food. That was the rise of fast casual, like Noodles and Company, Chipotle. And so for them, it's more about the convenience. Like, how can we put time back in their day? So with boomers, we're talking about how we're showing our work so that they can see validity in us.
Yep.
With Gen X, it's more a matter of like, how are you making my life easier? So if you are, depending on what your industry is, like, how can you make that easier for them? If you're like a bakery on Main Street, then maybe when you do birthday party cakes, maybe you have an option where they can like get the decorations at the same time, so that it is a one-stop shop, and they're not then compelled to go to Walmart instead of your small bakery, like having options there. Or maybe you could put in, maybe you have everything ready in an Amazon cart. I didn't even thought about this, because then you wouldn't have to hold it on hand. But like if you were to put it like, all right, so they do like a Paw Patrol cake, and then you have a cart of items ready in your Amazon account, and you know that these are all the Paw Patrol things that would go with that cake. You put the order and have it sent to their house. Like, that's a convenience factor that brings your business to another level, that makes it easier on them. I think that plays forward for most generations the busier we get. With millennials, it's more a matter of trust. Like, we are jaded. And I love to use the example of Elf, like when Buddy first gets to New York, and he's like skipping through the city, and he sees the sign that says world's best cup of coffee, and he comes like barreling through the door. Congratulations, you did it. Like, he just like face value believes it.
Yeah.
And we don't. Like, millennials have been inundated with advertisements since we were children. Like the Nickelodeon ad of like, I don't know if you remember this, but like when you would want the Nickelodeon like magazine. And so it would have like this whole ad about how you could like ask your parents to call and order you this Nickelodeon magazine. Like, these were the ads that we had as kids that were not as filtered probably as they should have been. But like, so if that's the case, then to break through the noise to millennials, you got to be authentic. You got to be transparent. You got to show up and just be you. Like, if you make a mistake, own it. It's not the end of the world. And the more you own when things go a little bit awry, the more trust you build. And then with Gen Z, we're kind of coming back around, less about consumerism, more about longevity in items. So we're seeing the rise of like thrift again. We're seeing where they don't want to just like buy and throw away stuff. They want to make things last. So how can you provide that in your business? Like, what does that look like for your business? How could you have more of a model to help like fix things, maintain things? Maybe if you sell vacuum cleaners, right? And then you have a YouTube channel that talks about how to maintain those vacuum cleaners. Maybe then when they buy from you, then they know that they can go to this channel and they can see how to maintain it so that they don't have to throw it away. They can make it last. So just kind of thinking a little bit outside the box and thinking of different avenues of things that you can add in. And one of my biggest things, especially in my millennials class, is millennials aren't special. I will go on my soapbox on this one for a second, because millennials get
a lot of shit for the participation trophies. But I'm just going to say what everybody is thinking. The 5-year-old millennial was not the one going to the trophy store to buy the participation trophy. We didn't buy them. We just received them, and then we get in trouble for receiving them. I'm just saying, we didn't make that mess. Boomers, you did. But that's kind of profound what you just did right there.
Thank you. It needed to be said. Yeah. They needed to hear it.
That's what we do here as we talk about things like that.
The hard truths. It's the hard truths in this world.
So do you have any like common marketing mistakes that you see businesses make?
I would say the biggest one is just like constantly looking for the silver bullet. And so constantly wanting to find the easy way out. And unfortunately, there are a lot of pariahs out there that will like just jump on that. I mean, I'm seeing like where people are spending $1,800 to $2,500 for their business plan for the next year. And it's just like a template. Like, they wrote one business plan and then they change the name at the top of it and sell it to people at $2,500 a pop. And it doesn't provide them anything that they couldn't Google on their own. And I think that we're all desperate in like not a bad way, but like a hungry way for more business, especially as like things get more expensive, the economy changes, the world changes. Like we need more to make the same. And as a result, then we're constantly looking for other avenues to do things. So my biggest mistakes I keep seeing are people spending money just to spend it, picking up another subscription that they never click into, they never utilize, being inauthentic on social media and not really utilizing it to just be a human. And then
what's that look like really quick before we go to the next one?
Yeah. So I would say like just being a human on social media looks like just talking about the stuff you love. I love to call it your nerd thing. So like that thing that if given the opportunity, you could talk about for hours. Like, what is that for you? What is that thing? Is it Vikings football? Is it fishing? Is it pizza? Is it tacos? Is it scuba diving? Like, it doesn't matter what it is.
I do love tacos.
Who doesn't love tacos? Thank you. Taco Tuesday last night. No shame.
For sure.
But like, if like whatever that is for you, like lean into it. In fact, on the taco example, my friend Tammy, she will like post about Taco Tuesday, love of tacos, all these things. And then when people see other posts about tacos, they tag her in it.
They think about her.
They share her. It brings her to the top of their mind for something other than her industry, which is the real pro tip in that. And then staying top of mind about stuff you already enjoy. So like just showing up and being excited about tacos, being excited about going on a hike, being excited about the stuff you're already doing in your life and showing up in that way, people are drawn to that, especially with as politicized as social media has gotten over the last decade. Like anybody who is just being naturally, organically joyful on social media is going to be an absolute magnet right now.
And you can feel that.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy because we're talking about like a lot of technology to be able to have that transfer of energy, but that it comes through. And if you're going to be, so if there's investment going into it, starting with this has to come across authentic. Like how do you coach somebody? Because a lot of people are like, holy shit, I'm about to like record myself.
Yeah.
But you're talking about something that should be important.
Yeah.
Right. So it should come across authentic. So why did like that discombobulation people go through? It's just really interesting to me because I don't have that experience personally. Yeah. So like, how do you work through that with people that need to be out there?
I think there's like two sides. So like the first one is we find ourselves, especially on social media, comparing our chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 27. And so like your first video is going to suck. Like it's not going to be good. You're going to look back on it and cringe for the rest of your life that it exists. And that's just the way it is. Like the first time that Michael Jordan shot a basketball, it probably didn't go in.
Yeah.
Like it's just the way it is. So if that's the case, then get over it. Like you're not going to like the way your voice sounds. You're not going to like the way you look. It's not going to be good. Move on.
Expect it.
Yeah.
But just get to number 2.
Get to number 2. That's it. Just view it as an activity to check off and not something that has to be perfect. And then the other side is like, don't worry about making it look super put together. Record from the front seat of your car. That's one of the biggest tips I give in a lot of my classes is that to record your videos from the front seat of your car because the audio is solid. Like it's not echoing in there. The lighting is always perfect. Ladies, you know it. You know your selfies always turn out the best in the front seat of your car. And so like, why not like show up like just be there. Be in that space where you know you're going to look good. You know you're going to sound good. And there's like a little bit of grace given to you then. If you're recording from the front seat of your car in the Target parking lot, then it probably doesn't have to have like great background music. It doesn't need to have like perfect transitions. It doesn't need to have all of these other things. It can just be what it is, which is just the content and then move forward. And I think that I like to take away as many of the hurdles from you doing it as possible. So just like go to your car and record a video and post it.
It's funny. So I actually wrote down hurdle number 1 is just doing it.
Yeah.
So what's hurdle number 2, 3, 4, 5?
I would say it's the biggest one is just doing it, right? So just like getting to where you just start And that's, I mean, in a lot of my classes, I'll have people create a video or a reel in the class, because no matter how many times, no matter how many classes you sit through teaching you how to do it, if you don't actually jump off the cliff and give it a try, you're never going to do it.
You're just talking the theory of it all.
Absolutely. And then nothing ends up happening. Whereas if we can just like take that first leap, then we can figure out, all right, what is the content? Like we can A and B test, right? We can figure out what's the content that's working.
Now you have a result.
Yeah. Now we know. And we can see, all right, one, I didn't die.
Yeah.
Like people didn't tar and feather me in the town square because I made a video.
Number one.
Win number one, we survived. Win number two, you start to see the engagement with it. People get to hear your voice. People get to participate with you and see what you've got going on.
So now you can actually learn instead of thinking about learning.
Mind blown.
Wow.
Just do it.
So that's a key takeaway. Like, do it. So once you start doing it,
yeah,
and now we're looking to learn from the feedback loop that's created. What are the next steps? Like, how does it continue to get better?
Yeah.
Like Alex Hormozy and some of these guys, like they seemingly come out of nowhere at times. And then that's the only thing on your feed.
Yep.
At least for me.
Yeah.
Pops up a lot. So how do you go from doing it to that?
Yeah. So
that's a tough question.
No, it is. It is. A lot of that is the consistency of it, right? Mm-hmm. So the social media gods want to reward you for doing things with consistency and using their platforms in the ways they want it to, which right now is Reels and TikToks. And so utilizing whatever is new is important. So whatever they launch, whatever the newest platform is, for a while it was live, then it was video, all the things. So right now it's Reels.
Buy into it.
Yeah. Be an early adopter of whatever they add to their platform. And then lay out like a plan for the year when it comes to your social media is one of the biggest things. Like I like to print out like a calendar and just see the whole year at once and then pick out like the content throughout. Like when I was managing, especially when I was managing multiple social media accounts for different businesses, like we're talking roofing, auto mechanic, a printing company, a couple realtors, couple lenders. Like I had like different things in different areas. And so one of the best things I had for that was to just lay out the year and look at it and say, all right, Q1, we're going to really focus on brand awareness because our big season is in the summer. And so then like figuring out what I want to focus on each quarter and have ideas for it. Also laying out like what events are coming up. Like, could I do March Madness brackets? Like, I mean, if you're going to do them, you kind of got to do them today. But like, if you were going to do that with your clients, like maybe we start promoting that in February, right? Maybe we're going to do a bigger push in the fall around all the different corn mazes throughout the Twin Cities or whatever it is, especially like spring cleaning when like the bugs come out of nowhere in your house and maybe through the foundation and then all of a sudden there's ants everywhere. Like at that time, then maybe we spend the winter months like talking about what to look for, and then we're ready in the spring months when stuff starts like, all right, I remember seeing this. So here's an at-home trick. And like being okay with, especially when we're talking about the like Gen X and later, when they're talking about like the DIY type mindset, right? Like they're the last generation to play outside.
Myself.
I can figure it out. It's on YouTube. If you've got like options there where you're like, all right, first line of defense, like let's try this product and this product. If those don't work, like it's a bigger problem. We can come help. But like, I think that you buy in a lot of trust in industries where we can just say like, here's what I would do. And here's how I would do it on like an over-the-counter type method.
Yeah.
And then if inevitably that's not enough, then like we've got better solutions for you.
So knowing that people are going to fall into that and then just like speaking to that thought process they're going through and helping them solve the problem still.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
Yeah.
So really it's like you start with the zoom in. Right. And just like get the activity in so you can start learning.
Yeah.
But then what I heard you say is like you got to zoom out and start looking a little bit further out.
Yeah.
So that you can be more efficient with your time and effective with what you're actually talking about. Because if it's an event or something like that, that we can like put on the calendar. Now we just work backwards from that, right?
100%. This is when we're going to do the save the date. This is when we're going to do the invitation. Here's when we post about parking. Here's when we post about like what to bring. All those things we can lay out a lot easier if we've got that planned out ahead. And if you've got like a list of like different types of videos too, just block a day. Like that is what those like bigger video producers, if you can't afford to have somebody following you with a camera all day, which most of us can't, then you've got to kind of stockpile a lot of your content. And so grab like 3-4 different shirts and record multiple videos in the same day and crank through them
different
and edit
shirts
them.
is a good hack.
And then just like, pull around, go to different spots. Like even if you're going to be man behind the curtain here, but like, even if you're going to be doing it like organically from the Target parking lot in between kids stuff, great. But like grab a couple different shirts, move to different pockets of the parking lot and record 3 or 4 videos like back to back to back, and then go home and then you can edit them and you can upload them. But you could have a month's worth of videos done in a half day as opposed to a week's worth.
Millennials will feel that stuff out. They'll be like, this is the 4th video. They're in the same spot, the same thing. This actually isn't authentic. Like
exactly.
Like they're trying to make me feel. And
yes,
they sniff it out.
Yeah.
Millennials.
So you got to trick them.
Shout out to the millennials.
Always jaded and skeptical.
But
my people.
mean, if you're trying to accomplish something like within a framework that you set, because time is very limiting.
Yeah.
Like you got to understand how to use that. And if you're leaning into authenticity because you can execute on that, having a little tact or strategy behind it to actually get the result.
Yeah.
Like it goes a long, long way. Because doing it, like I've done content for quite a while now, and I did it for a while. Just I'm putting more out than other people.
Yeah.
Like the Gary Vaynerchuk, whatever it is, like do like 95 times more than that.
Yeah.
Like that works because you can learn from it. But when there's just a little bit of thought on the front end because you've planned it, like the result that we're really going for, the business, the likes, the whatever it is, you see massive jumps.
Absolutely. And because you're not at the mercy of your calendar, which is difficult as well. And if you are myself included, like designated days where I choose to do my hair and makeup and the rest of them I look like a homeless person, then I need to maximize the days where I don't look homeless. Like that is really where it becomes important because I'm not going to get fully ready every day, which means I can't just like do a video off the cuff any day. So we lay out our time. We know exactly when we're going to do it. We bulk create some content. And then we give ourselves the freedom those other weeks to focus on something else in our marketing, like bucket. Like maybe we need to add in, I'm a big fan of handwritten notes. Well, if all you're doing is spending your time creating social media content, then you're not getting into those other silos. So maybe first week of the month, we do our video content. Second week of the month, we do all of our handwritten notes. And we start staggering those out.
And then stay consistent. And at some point, step back and look at the result and see where you're going to continue to invest time or money or whatever.
Absolutely.
So do you have like a recommended time block, especially if somebody's just getting into maybe rolling out a new initiative or a new type of marketing for them to let it play out and actually see a good sample size?
Yeah.
Because I've seen it a lot. Business owners that they're to the point where they've got the cash flow and they can invest it into marketing. They're young and they want to keep growing it. So how do you, I kind of lost where I was going with that, but
how do you like track it? And how do you like identify if it worked or not?
And how do you make sure you're not just like pulling the plug because now you're spending money.
Yep.
And before you weren't spending money. So that used to be money in my pocket. And now it's like just going out there and it's not working. Well, what if the algorithm or whatever just takes a little bit of time to get there? Like, how do you recommend people think about that when it's if it's really long question there?
No, that's good. And it's important. And I think that and it's such a like fluid answer with that too, because like, okay, let's say you do every door direct mail mailers, right? Which means that you're sending out the mailers that are the junk mail, right? So they just like, you identify a neighborhood, it just goes to every house in that neighborhood on that route. Great. If you do that twice, you're probably not, I'd be shocked if you converted anything out of it. Like that's a long play. So the ROI on that, you're not going to start seeing the return on your investment until maybe a year or two out. And you got to be aware of that. Whereas if you cold call, sucks. I know most of you would rather like walk into oncoming traffic than like pick up the phone. But if you're okay with picking up the phone, then you're probably going to convert a lot faster. Like you can convert same day deals.
It's weird. I talk about this with my team, you know, like sometimes you just got to talk to somebody who we've already done business with about another business they can do with us.
Yeah.
If they did wildlife control with us, well, we also do pest control.
Yep.
There's a lot of ants or whatever right now, but that person's already in the database.
Yeah.
So it's
and they already know, like, and trust you enough to use you once.
So I can get on a soapbox with this one because like cold calling, like I enjoy that.
Yeah.
And our team really leans into it because I believe marketing is all just about communication and connecting with that person. And they're, other than knocking on their door and being in their face, there's not a faster way to do that than just pick the phone up, call them. They might not answer. Like most millennials don't, to be honest.
Nope. Screen your call first, but they still saw it. They'll
read the voicemail.
They'll either read the voicemail. They're going to Google the phone number to see what pops up. Before, as it's ringing, I Google the phone number to know if I want to pick it up because I'm not going to listen to the voicemail. And so I will read the voicemail, as you said.
This is correct.
And then you don't know always. But I knew when I was selling insurance, for every 100 phone calls I made, I would talk to 16. I would quote 3. I would write 2 with consistency.
Metrics.
Call 100, talk to 16, quote 3, write 2. And so I knew I would spend 2 hours making those phone calls and I was going to write 2 households. If you have sales goals, the more you know the metrics, the more you know how many at-bats it takes to get to like a score, then it does take, and like you had said too, when we're talking about the videos, like just get to the second one. That's all cold calling is. If you detach yourself from each individual phone call, it's just a matter of getting to the 100.
Do one more. Yep.
And the receiver gets less heavy. Oh my God. I used to, when I would cold call, when I sold insurance like 10 years ago, if somebody would hang up on me, I was such a little twat. Like I was 23 and just like did not care.
Got a little sassiness.
I did. I would call them right back. I'm like, I'm so sorry. We must've gotten disconnected. They hung up on me. I didn't care. I'm like, I'm so sorry. We must've gotten disconnected. As I was saying, I would love to quote your insurance, and they'd hang up on me again. I'd only call them back twice. And then that would usually be when I would cut it off. But like, you got to make a game out of it, right? Like it sucks. They don't want to talk to you most of the time, and that's fine. But you do strike gold every now and again, and it's the fastest way to get a deal.
Now it's an input of time, which sometimes in a business is more or less valuable than the money itself.
Yeah.
But when we're talking conversions, talking to a customer that's already in your database, whatever that might be, and they've already paid you once, like there's exponential increase in conversion rate just because they're already like that much further into a relationship with you, if you want to think about it that way. So now it's just on us to make sure they know all the stuff we do.
That's it. Because they all like, you don't have to sell them on you being a company that actually exists, a company that's worth working with, somebody that
there's
like is going to show up.
Checked already.
Absolutely. It's as good as a referral, if not better, because they've actually experienced it.
So I'm glad you brought that up. So let's talk about referrals. Because for businesses like pest control, like it's a huge thing for us outside of it being a massive compliment for a service industry.
Yeah.
Like being referred to somebody's neighbor or family member, like that helps a business grow really quickly because again, it kind of leapfrogs some of those initial hurdles of validation people go through when they're bringing somebody into their home.
Yeah.
So for, let's say, pest control or any type of service industry, like how can you help businesses get more referrals?
Yeah. Like
what are some strategies or techniques there that can really increase that referral rate, I guess might be.
Yeah. So I think there's a couple. One of the things that you had kind of alluded to that I think is a good reminder too is like the sweat equity of like picking up the phone, like if we're cold calling, right? Like when you're new, when your business is new, when you don't have a lot of capital to work with, then if you don't have money, you've got time. Like that's it. So you've got to like use that in another way. So that can be like networking, getting out there. But the sweat equity that comes with that is like being really intentional with going out and meeting with people, right? Doing the one-on-ones, getting to know them, being the first to give a referral. That's a huge one. And it's a fast way to get more referrals. I like to call it the Minnesota Nice Rule, but it's also in this book called Influence. I should remember the author's name. It's thick, 446 pages in case you're wondering, because I recently finished it and it took a minute, but it's really good. And it's all about the art of persuasion. And so one is the rule and the law of reciprocity. So if I do something for you, you're more apt to do something for me. And it's 100% true. So if we're looking to go out and get more referrals, then you need to go out and be like ready to just start giving referrals, because in a not gross way, they're indebted to you. In their brain, they are. So all things being equal, right? As long as you're not a jerk and a terrible company, all things being equal, if you give them a referral, then the next opportunity they get for a pest control referral, like you're top of the list because they want to pay back the favor you gave them. So going out and finding the fastest ways to give out those referrals first, right? It's the BNI adage of like givers gain, but like doing that first helps. And then one of the things that especially my older clients sometimes lose sight of is the referral is great, but like if I receive a referral, I'm going to Google them. And like, how are you showing up on Google? Like what shows up? Do you exist? I talk to.
It can't be the only thing. Referrals can't be the only driver of new business is what you're saying.
Well, I'm saying that like if my past client's kid is referred to me, they're going to Google me to vet me. And so like, how are you showing up there? Like, do you show up? Do you have a Google business page? Do you have a Google business page?
What happens after referrals given and thinking about what the person that received that was?
What are they going to see? Because that's going to sabotage you. Even if you were to get the referral that you might never see.
You can get a billion referrals, but if your Google business profile sucks and it's a 1-star.
Yep. Or it doesn't exist, or you have barely any, or it's not taken care of, or you haven't posted to your Facebook page since 2019. Like all of these things lead the consumer to believe that you are no longer in business, that you're not receiving business, that you're not good at business.
It's like a social proof or a source of truth for them to go validate whatever 100%. XYZ said, because sometimes he's a liar or whatever it might be.
Like jaded, right? Like what's in it for them? Why are they referring this company? Like, how do they know this person? Are they getting a kickback on this? Like, what does that look like?
Millennials just sniffing stuff out.
See, that's it. We're skeptical. So when it comes to referrals, like, be the first one to give so that you can kind of have that little bit of an imbalance. Then making sure that like we've got our home set up, right? Like we're ready to receive the referrals. Like, so starting there, setting up the Google business page, start facilitating those reviews because that's important. And then going out and having a plan for referrals. Depending on your industry, you could do a donation to charity for every referral that you receive. You could do.
Make somebody care about it more than just you giving the service.
Absolutely. And one of the things, the book, 7 Levels of Communication, I swear to you, Michael Mayer, if you see this, like I should get a kickback for the number of times I talk about this book in my classes. But 7 Levels of Communication, one of the things he has in there is called the Great Retrace. And so when it creates a culture of referrals. So basically what you do is, let's say you work with Alice. Alice refers you to Bob. Then you call Alice and you say, Alice, thank you so much for referring me to Bob. I really appreciate it. He was great to work with. My business runs on referrals and I could not do this without you. Thank you so much. Then Bob refers you to Charlie. You call Bob and you say, hey, Bob, thank you so much for referring me to Charlie. I had a great time working with him. My business runs on referrals. I couldn't do this without you. Then you call Alice and you say, Alice, you'll never believe this. Remember when you referred me to Bob? Well, Bob referred me to Charlie. My business runs on referrals. I could not do this without you. Thank you so much for starting that chain. Then Charlie refers you to David. You call Charlie and you say, thank you so much for referring me to David. I really appreciate it. My business runs on referrals. I couldn't do this without you. You call Bob and you say, hey, Bob, remember when you referred me to Charlie? Charlie referred me to David. Thank you so much for referring me to Charlie. My business runs on referrals and I couldn't do this without you. And then you call Alice and you're like, hey, Alice, guess what? Remember when you referred me to Bob? And then Bob referred me to Charlie? Well, now Charlie's referred me to David. My business runs on referrals and I couldn't do this without you.
So you created a feedback loop that also is psychologically, it's a positive feedback loop for them. So it's positive reinforcement that what you did helped.
Multiple things in it too, right? Like they're seeing that you're still in business, you're continuing to provide a referral worthy service because you keep getting referred. And every time you call me, you're calling to tell me that I'm great and thank me, I will pick up that phone call. If all you're doing every time you call me is say like, hey, you're great. Thank you. I'm going to pick up that. And at the end of the day too, like we talked about, I'm creating a referral worthy experience. I'm still in business. I'm still accepting referrals. As a service provider, we have partners, dentists and other industries that stop accepting referrals, right? The consumer gets in their brain that at some point you might stop accepting referrals. We're not stopping accepting referrals. Let's give them the idea. We're constantly available for new business. We consistently provide a referral worthy experience. So let's thank them all the way back. Plus it's free. And I am a big proponent of free.
And for those calls, people are probably more comfortable making the call because now.
Yeah. I'm just calling to say thanks. And now we're touching our client base more.
This is good. I think we're going to have to start wrapping up. We can go a couple more minutes, but I want to be respectful of your time. So we get, this is for my pest control guys out there. So we get a ton of people reaching out, just asking for thoughts around marketing because we've had a lot of success there. But pest control, we've got our own little tribe we've created there. So for the pest control guys out there, do you got any like cool marketing ideas just off the top of your dome? I didn't prep you for this.
No, you're good. You're good.
Or just like things to think about maybe when it comes to content creation?
I would say for content creation, showing up where they're going to find you. So showing up on YouTube and on Instagram with hashtags where they can find you, but thinking of like, I like to think of pest control kind of akin with like home inspectors or where it's, don't even get me started on our first time home buyers and first generation home buyers, how they don't know what they don't know. And so if you've never owned a home before, or you grew up in new construction and now you live in a home built in the 1950s and ants are getting into your house, then like there's things you don't know that you don't know. And so for pest control in general, like showing up and having like being a resource first, start with helping first, create this trust network where they know that they can turn to you to figure out how to handle this, how to control infestations within like landscaping or whatever it might be. And then when stuff gets way too hairy and way out of control, then you're there to show up, but you're not coming to them with like, buy this first. And so I think creating that culture online is a great avenue to really be able to reach out and connect with people first. And then maybe do pop buys from past clients where you do every spring, like a little sample of something, like a little packet that you could do as a pop buy in the spring, reminding them that, thanking them for past business and saying, hey, here's something you could use in your flower bed this year. If you need anything else, let us know. And just because nobody really thinks of pest control as an ongoing business, like need. It's more of like, I have an infestation, like for me as a consumer, I have an infestation right now. I need somebody right now. But instead of being able to create like a long-term relationship that I think could be handled with like a pop by at their house or like just dropping off a gift or staying top of mind when you're coming into busier seasons.
That's good. Write it down, guys, and then go do it. All right. So people that are looking to get you for speaking, I know you're doing that on a national level, but anything locally, how do people reach out to you? How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah. So the best way would be through my website, which could we put in like the show notes or handles, all that stuff. Shoot me an email. On my website, it's got all of my current course offerings, the states in which they're approved for continuing education for real estate agents. So for different realtors throughout the country, or if you are a pest control company that's looking to get in front of realtors because you want to be their go-to resource ahead of closing or just after closing, it can be a great way for you to get in front of them. And we can work together to create a continuing education opportunity where you provide value first to be able to get those referrals.
Sign me up for that. Anything else you want to add? Then I got one last question.
I don't think so. What do you got?
All right. So Homegrown Hustle episode ? Right now. We ask every guest what hustle means to them in terms of business. So for you, what's hustle mean to you? Hustle
to me is that back against the corner opportunity, that like fighting through there's a lot to like starting a business and like, especially one where it's like marketing for me. So it was something that I've wanted to do since I was in high school, and I love everything about it, but it's really freaking hard sometimes. And when you don't fully know what your widget is yet, or what's going to pay you, or what to charge, and you have to figure out like all the different nuances of it. The hustle for me is like keeping going, like getting up, finding the things I want to reach for, finding the things I want to accomplish, finding the goals that I'm striving for, and then busting my butt to create the best possible version of everything that I do because my name is on it. And I think that that's what drives me, and that's what motivates me, on top of not losing my house.
That's a good one. Is there like a childhood story or something that you like learned that early on, or was that something that just as a byproduct of business?
It's a great question.
You've learned.
My mom tells this story all the time. My very first day coming home from preschool, I pouted in the back seat. My mom was like, Jill, like, what? You good? Like, what happened? And I just like sat in the back in my car seat, and I was like, I want to talk to Grandma. And I just like wouldn't say a word. So we get home, landline. My mom gets my grandmother on the phone. So sassy at 5. I had all the sass.
I have one of those right now.
I brought it with me. She will do well. He or she. But we get my grandma on the phone when I get home, and I say, Grandma, they didn't teach me how to read. And that was in one day. I expected this poor woman of preschool, not even kindergarten, to teach me how to read in one day. And my grandma like almost laughed out loud. She's a kindergarten teacher. And she was like, take a step back. Like, did they read to you? Did they point to the words? They're teaching you how to read. I expected you show up day one, you're going to learn how to read because you learn how to read when you go to school. The end. They didn't do it. They failed. I was mad. I taught myself how to read over the course of the next preschool, and was reading like full books by the time I got to kindergarten because I was so determined to do it. Like, this is what I wanted to do, and I was going to do it. And so for me, it's always been like, when I was little, my mom would always say it was like the do myself mentality. Like I was just going to figure it out. And then later, it's always been a matter of like, I just feel like I'm smart and I'm capable, and like to just like have to take like answers from somebody else telling me like what my plateau is, like that just sucks. And like, if I'm the kid that like through school, like I was the A student carrying the group through the project, like I'm sick of then having to continue to carry other people. Like, if I'm going to work harder, I should get paid more. If I'm going to work harder, I should be able to excel more.
Not being satisfied and content with it.
Yeah. And be able to like.
And you can read now too.
And I can read. I can still read, you guys.
That one has been a valuable learning experience for you over the long term, right?
Yeah.
So this one's for the kids. Make sure you learn how to read, because I'm sure there's some type of AI coming around that's going to take that away. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on, Jill. Yeah. This was great.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks everybody for listening, watching, whatever platform you're on. If you could give it a like or a share, it means the world to us and our team over here. We're doing a lot to bring content to you guys, to try to just bring information to hopefully inspire more learning. So if you could just do that little bit for us, it'd be great. But regardless, thanks for listening. Until next time, keep hustling.
Do you have nonstop pest or rodent problems? Our gold package is for you. Get 4 regularly scheduled services a year and coverage for pests and insects. Call now at 763-328-0156 or scan the QR code to learn more.
Thanks again for joining us on Homegrown Hustle. Our local business community thrives because of the brilliant leaders right here in our backyard. And it's been an absolute privilege to provide them with a platform to share their invaluable expertise. Stay tuned for more insight, wisdom, and inspiration from our local business champions. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Together, we'll continue to nurture and expand our homegrown success stories. Matt Eickman signing off until our next insightful episode.